All right, we were studying David for a while. Who are we studying now? Solomon. Jesus. No, we were studying Solomon. Solomon is the son of David, and he is now king. David has passed away. Solomon is king, and Solomon is known for what? Wisdom. Building the temple. That's actually good job. That's quite deep. Wisdom first, and then he actually got to build the temple. They didn't get to build. So he's known for wisdom. Last week we discussed what wisdom is. Wisdom is not intelligence. Wisdom is not knowledge. Wisdom is not street smarts or even common sense. Wisdom is being able to discern right from wrong. Wisdom is understanding in situations and carrying that out. Wisdom is from your head to your hands, acting rightly by other people. That is wisdom. If you are a wise person, you can look in a situation and say, I know this is right, and I'm choosing to do right in the best way possible. That, at its core, is what wisdom is. Now, last week we discussed everybody needs wisdom. And here's the deal. I know, like, if you haven't been here a whole lot, or if you, like, don't spend a whole lot of time with Jesus, you're probably sitting here and you're like, awesome, this is so relevant to my life. Because we don't talk about wisdom a lot. Here's the deal. This is huge to your life. Because tomorrow you will go to school and you will have to make decisions between what is right and what is wrong. And not easy stuff. Like, you're not going to have, well, some of you might, but most of you aren't going to have, like, an awkward 8th grade kid, like, popping out of a walk that's like, dude, do you want drugs? And you're like, no! Okay, it's not those kind of decisions. Right versus wrong decisions, as in cheating on your homework, cheating on a test because you were lazy and you didn't study. Right versus wrong decisions, as in who you're going to spend time with at lunch, who you're going to talk to between classes, to show the love of Jesus, not to live selfishly, but to love others. Wisdom is huge. Wisdom matters. And according to God, if we're following Jesus, we should desire wisdom. Not only should we should desire it so much more than anything else, more than treasure, more than fame, because Solomon could have had anything in the world, and he said, give me wisdom. And with wisdom comes rewards. If you remember last week, most all of you got a free Chick-fil-A sandwich. Some of you got iTunes cards. Some of you guys got tickets to the fair. And that's because you made a wise choice by coming to church, so you got a reward. So that was last week. Today we continue in the life of Solomon. I want to read 1 Kings chapter 4, verses 29 to 34. If you have a Bible, you can open it to 1 Kings. After that, we're going to be in Proverbs for a little bit. I'm going to go and start reading 1 Kings chapter 4, verses 29 through 34. 1 Kings is in the Old Testament, so don't go too far. Verse 29 says this, God gave Solomon wisdom and understanding beyond measure, the breadth of mind like the sands of the seashore. So that Solomon's wisdom surpassed all the wisdom of all the people of the east and all the wisdom of Egypt, for he was wiser than other men, wiser than Ethan, the Ezrahite, than, it looks like He-Man, which is really funny. So don't imagine He-Man, like the old cartoon, like Super Muscles. But anyways, He-Man, Calcol and Darda, the sons of Mahol, and his fame was in the surrounding nations. He also spoke 3,000 proverbs, and his songs were 1,005. He spoke of trees from the cedar to the Lebanon to the hyssop that grow out of the wall. He spoke of also beasts and of birds and of reptiles and of fish. People of all nations came to hear the wisdom of Solomon, and from all the kings of the earth who had heard of his wisdom. Here's the deal. Solomon is granted wisdom from God. Who gives wisdom? God. This is an easy one. Sunday school answer. We'll go against it. Everybody can get one right. You all get gold stars. Who gives wisdom? God. Yay! Okay, God gives wisdom. You can't gain it any other way. God grants wisdom. Now, the reality is sometimes God grants wisdom to us through other people. We can learn wisdom from old people. We can learn wisdom from friends. We can learn wisdom from our parents. We're going to talk about some of that today. But here's the deal. That word wisdom in the Old Testament it's a Hebrew word originally. Okay, if you don't know, the Bible was written in another language. It wasn't written in English. What? It was written Old Testament Hebrew, New Testament Greek, and so at least most of it. And wisdom, that Hebrew word is hokmah. Right? So it sounds kind of like a sneeze, cough, somewhere between. Hokmah, right? That is the same Hebrew word that is used for the word skill. All right? So I want you to wrap your brain around this. We view wisdom a lot of times like some, like we get knowledge, we get this, we get wisdom. Don't think of wisdom like some weird brain you get as you mature. Think of wisdom, hokmah, like a skill. Think of wisdom as a skill. If you're going to improve in a skill, some of it comes natural. Some of you have, like if you're a musician, like you have a little natural rhythm. But you can't rely just on that, right? If you're going to improve in your skill, it takes time. It takes effort. You're going to read about it. You're going to do everything you can, talk to other people about it. You're going to work to improve that skill. If you're a runner, I see Mallory Duncan hanging out here. If you run, like naturally she can run, right? That doesn't mean she can do nothing else with her skill and then show up cross-country day and be like, time to dominate. Let's go. Right? No! There is effort that goes into her running. There is time and learning and figuring out exactly what the right way, the proper way to run. And some of you guys are like, there's a right way to run? Okay, that will show the difference in skill level. Some of you guys are like, I only run if there's like an animal chasing after me. And then your running is not proper. It's probably like, ah! Or those kind of things. And so, it's a skill. Think of wisdom, which we all need, like a skill that you would have to invest in, that you'd have to learn. And the skill is best developed with a combination of passion and discipline. When you're passionate about something, you become disciplined in areas to make your skill better. If you're passionate about God and Him granting you wisdom, which He says you should seek and you should desire, then you're going to discipline yourself to learn about wisdom. You're going to discipline yourself to gain wisdom. And the way we gain wisdom, we know, is from God, from time in His Word. Solomon became famous for his wisdom. And as anybody who becomes famous for being the best at something, what does Solomon do? He writes it down. So, Solomon has an entire book of wisdom. What's his book called? Proverbs. Winner, ding, ding, ding. It's okay if you guessed wrong, because now you know, and now you have wisdom. The right answer is Proverbs. So, Proverbs. Solomon writes Proverbs. We're going to read Proverbs chapter 1. Proverbs 1, verse 1 says this. The Proverbs of Solomon, son of David, king of Israel. We're going to read through about verse 7. To know wisdom and instruction, to understand words of insight, to receive instruction in wise dealings, in righteousness and justice and equality, to give, and justity, I made up a word, to give prudence to the simple, knowledge and discretion to the youth. Let the wise hear and increase in learning. The one who understands obtain guidance. Verse 6. To understand a proverb and saying, the words of the wise and their riddles. Verse 7. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and instruction. You guys should probably memorize that verse. Fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. And fools despise wisdom and instruction. If you catch yourself in your heart, even right now as we are teaching this, not interested in God's word, then that is despising wisdom and instruction. That is thinking you do not need God's truth in your life, which radically changes you from the inside out. So at this point, I say, lock in, cue in, pay attention, because I do not want you to despise wisdom and instruction, all right? So, Solomon writes all these proverbs so that others could gain wisdom. Now, this is really important. Proverbs, wisdom. By the way, if you're like, I want to read some proverbs, there's 31, so you can read a proverb a day in every month. So the last 30 you don't hit in February. Every now and then, you miss the last one. But read a proverb a day. It's a great practice for growth in your spiritual walk. But there's wisdom from God to Solomon. He wrote down so we can have it. That way we don't have to go experience something and mess up. Instead, we can read wisdom from Solomon. And does that make sense? Are you guys following this? I read the Bible. God inspired Solomon to write this part of the Bible. I get that wisdom in my heart, in my head, and I live it out. Now here's the problem that we have. We practice in our culture a thing called situationalism. We have no desire to gain wisdom any other time except for whenever we are in a situation and we realize we are outdone. So, would you guys agree or disagree with that? Like, agree, disagree, head nod. Nonverbal communication? Okay, I see lots of agreeing. We practice, like, for instance, I never really had to think about what I would do in this situation with somebody calling me into a fight. Somebody shows up and does one of those, like, old school, like, pushes you, you want some, blah, 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 to talk some trash or something, we're going to beat you up. Like, if you never have thought about that situation before, you're about to practice situationalism. You step back and your friends are like, dude, beat him him up. But your friends are like, kick him in the leg. Or your friends are like, shave his head. And then you're like, wait, what? I don't even have a razor. And so, all of a sudden we start listening to wisdom around us. And the first things that come to mind is cultural wisdom. What have I seen on TV? What do I hear in songs? What do I hear on the radio? What does the internet tell me to do? Oh, I can beat this person up, and then the video is going to go viral because it's a fight. Situational wisdom is dangerous. And as Christians, we are called to run from situational wisdom. We are called to run to godly wisdom, which is where you think beforehand of what you're going to do in situations. But we'll get to that in a second. First, we're going to play a little Magic 8 Ball game. Did anybody ever have a Magic 8 Ball? Raise your hand. Admit it. Okay, does anybody not know what a Magic 8 Ball is? Raise your hand. Oh, let me enlighten you. There was a ball. It was an 8 ball, not a real 8 ball about this big. Okay? Wait, never mind, I know. And there was this weird cube thing inside with water, and you would shake it up. And then you looked at this hole on the top, and it would float at the top. And it would say something like, you should do that, or not at this time, or try again, which is always frustrating. And so you'd ask them all a question. You'd be like, should I eat a burrito? With me? Yes, indeed. Burrito for me, sir. Right? That was the idea of the Magic 8 Ball. And then of course, and you can always ask them whatever you want to lead you to the right thing. Does that girl over there like me? No. That was the wrong girl. Does she like me? No. That was the wrong girl. Does she like me? Yes, indeed. I'm going to go ask her out. She likes me. Magic 8 Ball told me. And so that's the idea of Magic 8 Ball. So, situational wisdom is as such. So we're going to go a little Magic 8 Ball on this. Let's pose some questions in which we tend to practice situational wisdom instead of godly wisdom. We're going to look at what art and culture and God all say about it. So, what do I do? What do I do when I'm run down by somebody else? When I say run down, I don't mean literally run down. I mean somebody's making fun of you, somebody's dogging on you, somebody's bullying you, somebody's persecuting you, whatever word strikes a chord with you, where you feel that you are the victim in a situation, and it's been someone just being mean to you. Okay, up here. What do I do when I'm run down by somebody else? Culture. Culture says, do not get mad, get even. That's what culture says, right? So somebody's dogging on you, somebody runs you down, you don't get all upset about it, you don't freak out, you go tell your friends, and you come up with a plan to get even. Well, we're not going to be their friend anymore. Well, they can't come to my birthday party. Whatever it is, we decide we're going to get even. We're going to start telling stories about them. We're going to do whatever it is. That's what culture says. What does art say? Art says, you hear my voice, you heard that sound. Like thunder, going to shake the ground. You held me down, but I got up. Get ready, because I've had enough. Anybody know what song that's from? Katy Perry's new single, Roar. It's currently #1. Culture says, when somebody is after you, when somebody runs you down, you know what? You shove back. When somebody's doing that, you fight back and you stand up and say, you know what? You're not going to hold me down. You don't define me. And I'm going to shove it in your face. Back up, because I am so much better than you. You fight back. That's what culture says. What does God say? God says, you will be persecuted for my name's sake. If they strike a cheek, you turn around and offer the other. If they steal your cloak, you turn around and say, you know what? Hey, have my shirt too. It says when you are persecuted, when you are fought, when you are run down by others, out of love and out of honor to God, you say, it doesn't matter. Do you see the difference between situational wisdom, where we listen to culture and we listen to art instead of listening to God beforehand? The next one, 8 Ball. What kind of person should I date? What does culture say? Culture says whoever makes you happy. Because you know it's going to make you happiest, and so find someone that is going to make you happy. And whenever they stop making you happy, then you just get rid of them.